I've entered the Dart 10K. This time last year I couldn't even swim. Hi, I'm Emma Stokes and welcome to my swimming vlog. I'm documenting the training that I'm going to be doing as I've entered the Dart 10K, which takes place this September. It's a 10 kilometre swim, no shit, and it's from Totnes all the way down to Dartmouth along the River Dart. So I've entered this swim with two of my friends, Zoe and Mandy, who are part of my team, and we've called our team the 3 Stars, or to ourselves we call it What the Fuck. So yeah, I've decided to, oh hi Jim, I've decided to document this because it's quite a journey. Independently, we're all doing our own swimming plans because we are totally different abilities and have very different swimming experience. So for example, Mandy is a really accomplished swimmer. She is super fit and does half Ironman events really regularly. So she's not only used to swimming distance but also in open water, so she's gonna smash it. Zoe is an accomplished swimmer and has swum all her life. She hasn't done a lot of open water swimming, but the open water doesn't really faze her, so that's a bonus. But what Zoe's done is decided to completely relearn how to swim front crawl. She's using the instructor that I used because this time last year I couldn't swim. Well, I say I couldn't swim, but I could basically float just about, and I could probably swim maybe 10 meters. If someone asked me to swim the width of a pool, for example, I would be able to do it very ungracefully, and I'd be gasping for air at the end. So I decided to learn to swim last summer because I wanted to enter the, there's a sprint triathlon, no, it's a super sprint triathlon, which takes place in the Lido in Cheltenham, and it's been a dream of mine to always wanted to do it. But one thing that stood between me and the triathlon was not being able to swim. So I took it upon myself to learn to swim last summer, and it was the best thing I ever did. I found an amazing instructor here in Cheltenham who teaches a technique which is very closely based upon total immersion swimming, which if you haven't tried total immersion, Google it. I'll put a link underneath this video so that you can have a look for yourself because it's amazing. Basically, it's quite a unique technique, and it's all based around swimming like a fish through water. So anyway, so I learnt that technique really quite quickly, probably because I had never really had swimming lessons before. So unlike Zoe, who's having to unlearn everything she's done for all her life, I didn't have to unlearn anything. I was quite a blank canvas. Within 10 weeks, I went from swimming nothing to doing the triathlon, and I absolutely loved it. So for the triathlon, I had to do 500 metres, which was 10 lengths of a 50-metre pool. So it was a pool swim, so that was a nice introduction for me. But I soon just discovered an absolute passion for swimming. And I went on to swim a kilometre, and then I went on and to do a 2-kilometre event. I came last, but do you know what? It didn't matter. I was just blown away in my own ability that I could actually swim for 2 kilometres. And then I discovered open water swimming. So we're really fortunate here in Gloucestershire that we've got some amazing sort of gravel pits that you can go and swim in. And so purchased myself a wetsuit, not the most glamorous thing to wear, but they serve a purpose. And off I went to the lakes out near Cirencester, and they've got an amazing lake where they've got a channel, and they've got buoys that are put in at 50-metre distances so that you can kind of go and do, I think it's 400 metres out and 400 metres back. But the buoys are a really good marker to know sort of how you're swimming and everything. So when I learnt to swim, because of the time constraints, I was doing front crawl and I was struggling to do bilateral breathing. So what we decided to do, me and my instructor, was just focus on the side I felt the most easy to breathe to, which was my right. So I literally just did all this swimming, breathing to one side, which was absolutely fine. But I soon realised that if I was going to do longer distances, I needed to be bilateral breathing, because I was going to just pick up an injury just because of the constant kind of turning to the one side. So I continued to do my swimming to one side, breathing to one side, and then in January this year, I reinstated my swimming instructor, Connor, and we went back to basics. And now, after I think I did about 5 or 6 lessons, I'm bilateral. Yeah. So really, really exciting. So yeah, we've entered the Dark 10K. I can't quite believe that we got in, because it was a ballot entry, because it's such a popular event. And there was a little bit of me thinking, well, do you know what? If I don't get in, well, that won't matter. I can do it next year. But sod's law, we got in. So we've all been doing our independent training, and we had a little session last week, I think it was. We all got together to see if we could organise some open water swims together. And we've entered a couple of events, and we've also scheduled to go and do some swims down in the River Dart so that we can get used to the river. And apparently it's quite cold. We Googled it, and I think it's about 15 or 16 degrees in the river, so it's not warm. It's not freezing, but none of us like cold water, so thank God we're going to be in wetsuits. But I think after the 3 hours or so that we're going to be in the water, we are going to feel the cold, so we need to get our bodies used to that temperature. I was watching an interesting documentary on open water swimming, and they were saying that you need to start to acclimatise your body to the cold water, because otherwise it goes into a bit of shock when you get in, which results in gasping for air and all the rest of it. So I think I'm going to be doing some cold showers. Not looking forward to that, and getting in the open water as much as I can. Open water freaks me out. And yet I've entered an open water event. My first attempt at an open water event was in September last year, so probably it was a little bit too soon, considering I'd only just learned to swim. I don't know if any of you have done an open water swimming event, probably a triathlon or something like that, but when the air horn goes off, everybody rushes into the water, and it is frenzied, and the atmosphere is really quite kind of aggressive, and everyone's trying to get their place, and I fell apart, basically. I think it was a combination of being daunted by having to swim around a lake. Even though I could do the distance in a pool, it's a very different feeling in a lake, because there's no sides, there's no lengths, there's no breather at the end of a length. So there was that. I think the cold water shocked me, and just being amongst all these people, I just freaked out. So I had a little panic attack and ended up getting pulled out of the water by a safety boat. So it wasn't my finest moment, but I'm determined to break that. So that's why we've planned lots and lots of open water before September, so that doesn't happen again. So yeah, that's where we're at, really. I've got lots and lots of swimming plans that I've downloaded, but I found one that I'm really sticking to. Now, it does advise that I do 3 swims a week. One which is technique, one is all about getting your strength, so doing lots of interval swims and things like that, and then your long swim. But all the best laid plans, I think I've only managed a couple of weeks of doing 3 a week. So I really need to up the ante now as the weeks are going by. I think we worked it out. I think it's 28 weeks. Does that sound right? Until September. But what I am focusing on are my long swims. So if I can't do the other 2 swims, I'm not worrying too much about it, and I'm doing the distance. So I'm upping it by half a kilometre every week. And last week I did 4K. So that's the furthest I've ever swum. I didn't really stop. I mean, obviously, I'm swimming at the moment in an indoor gym swimming pool, and it's only 20 metres. So I'm doing a lot of laps and a lot of turning. So it slows me down a little bit. I can't tumble turn or anything like that. Goodness no. So I can't wait for the Lido to open because I live literally opposite. So it's a 50-metre outdoor pool. So hopefully that opens end of March, and I can't wait to get into that pool. So yeah, I aim to do 4.5 kilometres this coming Sunday. I don't know how long it's going to take me. If I can do it in 2 hours, I'll be thrilled. But I'm really not fast at the moment. So there's that to think about. I've got myself a waterproof MP3 player, which has been a saving grace because for 2 hours swimming in a pool is quite boring. So I listen to music and that really, really helps. But it isn't helping with my kind of learning my pace because I tend to find that I'm speeding up and slowing down depending on what music I'm listening to. So I have bought myself a tempo trainer, which is like a little beeping metronome that you put inside your swimming hat. And you can find your ideal kind of pace and strokes per minute. And that's really helping. And actually, I swam with that the other week instead of music. And I realised that by just chilling out, and it's almost like a moving meditation swimming. I really just went into my own head. But it quietens the chitter chatter that's going on in your head all the time with a million thoughts going through. But all I found myself thinking about was my breathing, my strokes, my technique. And I came out feeling really calm, wasn't exhausted. It was a long, long way to go. I was starving when I got out the pool, but I felt really peaceful. So that was lovely. So just to wrap up, what am I loving so far about my swimming? I'm loving the sense of achievement. I'm loving the fact that I'm pushing myself every week with that extra 0.5 kilometre. I'm really enjoying just immersing myself in this swimming world. I found some brilliant Instagram pages to follow. And I'm signed up to the Total Immersion newsletters, and you get some really interesting articles through about improving your distance, improving your speed, and all that kind of thing. So loads of positives. Loving the fact that I'm feeling a lot fitter. My arms and shoulders are starting to tone up as well, which is no bad thing at my age. What I'm not loving the smell of chlorine on my body, even though I shower very, very thoroughly after a swim. I'm not loving the fact that my hair is dry as anything from the chlorine, even though I'm wearing a hat. And I'm not loving goggle marks after a long swim. Not a good look. And nor is the line that my swimming hat gives me either. But yeah, I think more than anything though, my mental health is really, really benefiting. So that's a real big thumbs up for swimming for me. And that's about it really for today. Anyway, I intend to keep you posted with how the training's going. I thought what I might do next week is talk to you about some of the equipment that I've bought, because I've mentioned my MP3 player and things like that. And I've done quite a lot of research, so I'll share that with you. And really, that's about it for today. So thank you for watching, and I hope you're looking forward to sharing my journey with me, particularly when I start to get into some open water and I can share some cool locations that we find. So catch you next week. What are we doing? Oh my God, I can't quite believe that we're doing this.